Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Wednesday, April 23rd. The 2025 NFL Draft is tomorrow. The anticipation is growing. We have a ton of content coming over the next, 30 hours or so at SteelersNow.com. So make sure you go there and check all of that out. Today, I want to answer a couple of questions that we got in the comments about some draft process stuff for NFL teams and GMs. Tomorrow on this show, I will be talking about my first round mock draft. And then, of course, we'll have tonight Steelers afternoon drive, and then a Steelers SN Plus live stream with me, Smitty, and DB just for SN Plus subscribers. So it is not too late. If you are watching this morning, go over to SteelersNow.com, click on memberships in the top right, sign up, and then you'll get the link for our live stream for members only for this afternoon, for this evening, I should say. So definitely not too late to get into that. So today I have two questions. The first one comes in from a very loyal member of the audience here, and that's My Guy 5. Says another draft question. Do the Steelers staff do mock drafts in the war room before the draft to prep and sharpen their strategy? And if so, how many times did they do it? So this is an interesting question, and it's a question where the answer is different now than it was several years ago. The Steelers don't do mock drafts in the same way that you and I are doing a mock draft on a simulator, or even if you did it with pen and paper or on a big board or whatever. They're not sitting there doing specific mock drafts. The first thing that they do as a part of their scouting process is they are going to rank the players. They're going to say, these are our top 21 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, our top players, our top 21 players. These are our first round picks. Okay. And so if we had 1-1, who would we take? Cam Ward, maybe. I don't know. And then so on and so forth. And that way, when their pick comes up, there will be a player, at least one of those top 21 that will be available. And as you know, when these picks come up, they're on the clock. They don't have an unlimited amount of time to make a decision. So most of the time, draft decisions are made ahead of time. The Steelers know if Kenneth Grant and Walter Nolan are both on the board, which one they're going to take. They know that right now. They know that if Malachi Starks and Derek Harmon are on the board, which one they're going to take, which one they're going to prefer. That order, those preferences have already been decided or are in the process of being finalized right now. So they know who they like more than everybody else, where they rank each player. And so sometimes when you hear like phrases like a team has a first round grade on a player, that doesn't necessarily mean they think they're one of the best 32 players in the draft. They just may think that's one of the best players for them. You will hear teams that, they didn't have a first-round grade on them. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that the Buffalo Bills are not putting a first-round grade on any quarterback because what's their pick, 30? What is the circumstance? If Cam Ward is there at 30, are the Bills taking him? No. Like, they're not going. That's a waste of a draft pick. So, that's the first thing they do is they're going to order that. And like, I can't speak for every team. This is because I don't have enough experience dealing with every front office, but this is how the Steelers do business. And I think it's pretty standard for the most part. So after they've done that, that is going to help the Steelers decide who they're going to pick. The second part of the equation, which is new, which is new under Omar Khan, is the Steelers are going to run through what they think are the most likely scenarios ahead of them in the draft. We think Tennessee is going to take Cam Ward. We think Cleveland is going to take Abdul Carter. Okay. Doesn't seem like anybody's sure about whether what the New York Giants are going to do. What does the board look like if the Giants take Shedeur Sanders? What does the board look like? How do the picks fall from there if the Giants take Travis Hunter? Okay, what's another big line of demarcation here? Number 9 with the Saints. Okay, what does the board look like from 9 down if the Saints take Sanders? What if they take Jackson Dart? What if they take Will Johnson at cornerback? How does that impact the board the rest of the way? Now, this doesn't matter when it comes to the Steelers sitting at 21 and picking. Where this matters is if the Steelers feel like there is an advantage to moving from 21. And that's why I think this process that the Steelers have expanded under Omar Khan, and you see it play out because they've been so much more active in moving around the draft board. I do like the Steelers haven't traded back in the first round in a very long time. I think they would really like to this time, but you don't know not only what's coming to what's going to be available to you, but then what you're trading back into, unless you've run through these. Omar calls them scenarios to say, okay, so hey, it's Dan Morgan. The Panthers want to know last chance. Will we come up to 8? Okay, well, do they need to? Do they want to? What are they going to likely to be able to get at 8 versus what they're going to get at 21? And is the price worth it? Or on the other side, hey, Andrew Barry's on the phone. They want to come up from 33. What's it going to take to make a deal with the Cleveland Browns? If you don't know what's going to be on the board at 33, it's really difficult to answer that question. And so while the who we're going to draft part of the process only focuses on the Pittsburgh Steelers evaluation, this other part of the process involves trying to evaluate what the other teams are going to do. And look, I think a criticism, and it's a strange criticism, but it is, of the way the Steelers front office was for a very long time, is that it was very static. They had the same guys in positions for years and years and years. And in a lot of ways, they didn't even really try to predict what other teams were doing. They mostly just set out under Kevin Colbert to draft the best player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it's pretty impossible to predict what other teams are doing if you don't have relationships with those other teams and if you don't have relationships with agents and things like that. And I think when Omar Khan built his staff and he added these pieces. Sheldon White comes from one organization, the Lions. Mark Sadowski comes from the Chicago Bears. Andy Weidl comes from the Philadelphia Eagles. You put these guys from different places together, and I think it's a little bit easier for this current Steelers front office to sit here and say, you know what? We think the Saints are going to take Dart. Like, well, I've been talking to people. You've been talking to people. He's been talking to people. We're all hearing the same things. We think the Saints are going to take Dart. Okay, so that means we don't need to trade up to 8 with the Carolina Panthers because the guy we really want, I'm not saying this is factual, just let's say that we really want Shedeur Sanders, he's not going to get taken at 9, so we don't need to trade up at 8. And I think you've seen that play out in the draft process, right? In 2023, the Steelers traded up to get Broderick Jones. They knew they needed to get ahead of the Jets to get Broderick Jones. Last year, they were able to sit at their spot and get Troy Fautanu to fall to them. So that they traded down 2 years ago. Broderick Jones was the guy Darnell Washington was the guy they were going to take. They traded down to recoup the pick. They used to go up to get Broderick Jones, and they still got Darnell Washington. You only know if you can do that if you have a good idea of what other teams are doing. So when it comes to who the Steelers are drafting, mock drafts don't matter. Scenarios don't matter. But when it comes to moving up and down the draft board, that's where that becomes really important. The other question I have is from another super long time regular member of the audience here, and that is Brooklyn NPSL, or I don't know, maybe Brooklyn has 2 N's and then it's just Brooklyn PSL. I don't know, Brooklyn, let us know. She said she's excited about the upcoming draft and season. On Friday, I went back and watched draft day for the first time. Is it true that if a GM makes a deal to trade up or down or picks, is it set in stone? They can't change their minds last minute. Are there GMs that ignorant, gullible to make really stupid deals? So a trade, GMs will talk trades informally. That's all. That process has already started. They've felt each other out about what they might be interested in doing. Are you interested in moving up? Are you interested in moving down? What are your hard red lines, right? Like, don't even bother to call me about trading TJ Watt. It's never happening in a million years. But if you want to know about George Pickens or, I don't know, somebody else, sure, we'll answer the phone. The New York Giants, have made it pretty clear, like, hey, we'd like to trade up, but no one's answering. So, like those kind of things, you want that information out there. You want all the other teams to know, the Falcons would really love to trade Kirk Cousins for a 3rd-round pick, whatever. On the other hand, sometimes you want to keep who you're going to take pretty close to the vest. So these GMs are talking to each other. At no point is a deal official until both sides have called the league. So one team initiates the trade call with the league, the other team joins, and both teams have to inform the league, this is what we're trading, this is what we're getting. The league it's not an approval process. It's more of a notification process to say, yep, okay, now the trade's official. Once that is done, there's no takebacks. You can't say, I changed my mind. But there's nothing other than the time ticking down on your time on the clock to stop you from making another trade. So let's say in this make-believe scenario, the Steelers trade up to 8, and they're like, we're going to go ahead and get ahead of the Saints. And then, in a dramatic movie scene, Omar Khan, who is from New Orleans and, worked for the Saints at one point, gets a phone call from an old friend in the Saints organization, said, you guys just screwed up. We're going to take Dart, not Sanders. Well, yeah, he's stuck with that trade that he made with the Panthers, but now he can get on the phone and say, oh, Jerry, come up to 8. We want to move back down, or pick another GM in the teens or whatever, and try to undo that move. But yeah, once the league is notified, the trade is official and set in stone. And again, you don't have a lot of time between picks to make. You better have your plans well thought out. There is not enough time in between picks to get the idea of, oh, I think I want to trade up here, call this GM, negotiate the price, talk to your staff, see if it's a good idea, call the league, get them on the phone. It's just, you really don't have a lot of time, especially after the first round. In the first round, you get 10 minutes for picks. In the second round, and then the third round, I think it's 7 minutes. And then it goes to 5 minutes after in day 3. So it's really not a lot of time to be making new decisions. So while it's not set in stone, a lot of times functionally, you just don't have enough time to do more than one thing in the span of one pick. There have actually been teams over the course of the draft, it's pretty rare, but it has happened, that have failed to get their pick in time. They just ran out of time. That does happen as well. Hopefully that increased your understanding of what's happening behind the scenes as these teams cram at the last minute for the 2025 NFL draft. Like I said, stay tuned here for Steelers Now. Like and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you get all of the great stuff we have coming out here, including Smitty's live stream of the draft on Thursday night. And if you want to be involved in our SN Plus subscribers only live stream tonight, go over to SteelersNow.com, sign up for SN Plus. You'll get the link in the email that you use to sign up. And we will have that tonight with me, Smitty, and DB starting at about 6 o'clock. That's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, enjoy.